How's it going? Necrotic Nick here with another collection update from Thralls of Metal. Still buying a ton of music and still trying to find a lot of interesting stuff out there, both in record stores and online. So, let's get into it. The Chasm, a conscious creation from the isolated domain. Phase 1. That's a mouthful of a title. This band blew me away when I saw them at Maryland Death Fest, so I had to get some of their stuff. Now, this is their most recent release. This was re-released on Vic Records, and I believe it came out in 2017. This one I was kind of surprised because it's all instrumental. Now, all their other stuff, I believe, is all with vocals. The frontman used to be a part of Cenotaph from Mexico, which was an awesome death metal band there, and even spent some time in Incantation. This is truly an amazing album. All instrumental, and it's all written in movements. Very solid writing. It kind of borders on both death metal, thrash metal, a little bit of blackened tinge stuff, and even some progressive stuff. Guitar work is incredibly tight. The drum work's absolutely amazing too. This is a hell of a listen, and it's really easy to get into. I was really surprised. Like, if you're a fan of any of those styles, even just remotely, there is a lot of appeal here. Great songwriting across the board. This is really awesome stuff. I can't wait to get more of their stuff. Preferably with some vocals too, because I want to hear that part, because they were absolutely incredible live. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of these guys already, just based on this instrumental album. Yeah, definitely check this one out. It's a killer release. Numenorean Home. Big fan of Numenorean's new release, Abattoir. I think that is year-end material for sure. Who knows? Could make the cut. This one is a little bit different. There's only 5 tracks on here, but these tracks are much longer. Unlike Abattoir, where these songs are broken up a little bit better. And there are some longer tracks where they're broken up by some shorter tracks and just more like riffy stuff. This is more atmospheric in parts. They kind of blend post-metal, black metal, and maybe a little bit of shoegaze in this too. It does have some pretty good hooks. The vocals aren't nearly as good on this one. I think I like the addition of clean vocals on the new album, Abattoir. It gives it almost kind of a Gojira quality, which I'm still a huge Gojira fan. This is still really good though, and it's kind of interesting to hear them build from this to where they are now. I think the only other thing they have out there is a demo, and if I can get my hands on it, I'll definitely check it out. This is really good stuff. I'm becoming a huge fan of this band. Check it out. Mujaw Creek, The Goat. This is a local band from Toledo, and they happen to be selling it in one of our local record stores, so I picked it up. I've seen these guys multiple times. Different little local metal fests, or opening up for other acts, or just playing at Frankie's. Pretty solid, kind of sludge metal, stoner metal, riff rock. It's really just good guitar-driven, chuggy songs. Nice mid-tempo, groovy headbangers. Good stuff. I'll probably see these guys live again, and it's good to hear they actually put out an album, so I got some stuff to jam to at home. Pretty solid. If you're ever in Toledo, check these guys out. They're pretty good fucking live, man. Faceless Burial, Multiversal, Abattoir. This is a EP from a Australian death metal band, and this is very much in the vein of Incantation and Immolation in terms of that just super heavy, dense, just suffocating death metal. This is fucking awesome. I have their previous full length, and I thought that was pretty good. This, I think, is a step forward in terms of sound. This is heavier. The production is more dense. Very, very bassy when it comes down to the production. Like this album thumps. The bass drum on this is just a big resounding thud. And this is very just chuggy and riffy, very groovy too, but tons of blast beats, big cavernous howling guttural roars. Really good shit, especially if you love old school death metal. Definitely check these guys out. Check out their full length too, it's also really good, but definitely check out this EP. Okay, this is a split EP between Necroblood and Psychomorpis. Both of these actually have a title too. The Necroblood one is called The Lurking Horror, and the Psychomorpis one is called Amorphous Chaos. Now, Necroblood is a black and death metal band from France, and that part of the CD is pretty good. It's pretty straightforward black and death metal. There's even some kind of doomier parts on here that I really got into. They kind of just broke away from the straightforward blast beats and got some kind of death doomy parts in here. I thought they were really good. Now, the Psychomorpis part is not particularly good. I really didn't get into it at all. It's very poorly produced and unevenly produced. Like, some songs are louder than others. The guitar tone is muddy, and there's really, like, it's really hard to make out distinct riffs or anything in there. The bass tone, unfortunately, sounds like a wet fart, and it's all carried by a drum machine that plays pretty close to the same beats on every song, which the songs are very short. It just seems like almost kind of a joke project. I'm sorry if this is, their serious project, but I'm not going to say it's good because it's not. It's really bad. But, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, check them out. That's their album cover, which I thought was kind of cool. But, yeah, not for me. Necroblood, pretty solid, though. And we have a pair here from Superstition. We have their original demo, which was reissued by 20 Bucks Pen, which is Surging Throng of Evil's Might, and their new full-length, The Anatomy of Unholy Transformation. This is a pretty solid demo. I think they may have tweaked it a little bit in the studio to make it sound a little bit more polished. It still sounds very raw, though. It's just straightforward death metal. A lot of reverb on the vocals. It almost sounds very cavernous, like he's yelling down a hallway. And, the production's kind of muddy, but I think they kind of went for that, too, just to give it that kind of raw, early death metal sound, like very much along the lines of early Death and Autopsy and such. Now, this one is a lot more polished, and the guitars are very much out front in this, and you can hear their awesome riffing. Like, the guitar work on this is exceptional. Drum work is a little repetitive, but they do break it up enough for me. Like, it kind of stays in a very solid, straightforward, old-school death metal blast beat, but it breaks up in some groovier moments, which I really like. The guitar work is what really stands out of here. Like, these guys are just riff machines, and they're really, like, cool, angular-sounding riffs. It just kind of adds the overall atmosphere of just creepiness. There's also some interludes in between, which I thought were unnecessary, but still pretty cool. Kind of dungeon synthy, kind of gives you, like, an old 70s horror movie vibe. Definitely, like, a Fulci thing. But yeah, all in all, definitely check these guys out. They were pretty solid live, minus, the mixing issue when we saw them with Tomb Mold. But yeah, definitely check out either one of these if you love old school death metal and you want it to sound evil as fuck. Thorium, Feral Creation. I remember hearing a certain song of theirs, I believe it was Epidemic Skeleton, on a sampler from Terrorizer magazine years ago. This came out in 2008, I believe. So, yeah, over a decade ago. And that song just kept getting stuck in my head, and I finally found this for a nice, modest price on Amazon and picked it up. And it's pretty solid. It's straightforward, very thrashy death metal, kind of in the vein of, I would say, like Vader, except maybe a tad slower. Like, there's definitely a lot of blast beats on there, but there's definitely a lot of groove on here. And some of it even kind of reminds me of Lamb of God a bit, like just a very straightforward, tight groove metal sound. And the vocals actually kind of have a Lamb of God quality, too, in the sense that they're very clear growls. And he kind of has a delivery very similar to Randy Blythe. Really good songwriting, though. Catchy, riff-driven. I fucking dig this album. It's been a lot of fun jamming this one. Check it out. Serial Butcher, Brute Force Lobotomy. I've been looking for more Serial Butcher for a while. I believe it's their first album, A Crash Course in Cranium Crushing. That's a fun one to say. This is a brutal death metal band from Belgium. It even has a former member of Aborted with their bassist. Really solid, tight stuff. If you like brutal death metal, it's really good. The production is a little sterile, I think. Drums are kind of clicky, and there's just, it's overall really, really polished sounding, which I like a little bit of grit to it. But the music is fucking tight. It's very much the realm of Aborted, maybe some Cannibal Corpse influence in there. I mean, probably. Really good syncopated, chuggy rhythms, and some really cool bass work on here, too. And pretty much if you like brutal death, I'm pretty sure you get into this. It has some good groovier moments in there, too, for just good headbangable mosh bullshit. Definitely check them out. It's a lot of fun. They're a unique leader, so should be a relatively easy one to find. They got pretty good distribution. Check it out. Sacri, Waiting Room for the Magic Hour. This is a psychedelic rock band, kind of stoner rock, with a lot of kind of early prog flourishes like Yes and Hawkwind, some Deep Purple. Very jammy. The songs are, a little bit longer, and they kind of just like getting in a groove and going off in these wild tangents. Some cool Hammond organ stuff in there, and surprisingly some pretty cool guitar work that's a little bit, like riff driven. Not just like noodling about with some like blues licks here and there. Not that isn't on here, but they know to drive home some moments on here. pretty solid listen. I kind of got lost in some of the songs, but overall, very talented musicians. It's kind of just a fun one to jam if you just want to hear someone just kind of going off on a tangent in terms of songs. But yeah, good stuff. Definitely check them out. And we have a couple from Sanguine Eagle. They're 2 EPs, I guess. This one is Shores of Avarice and Storm Mysticism. This is a atmospheric black metal band from New York, I believe. They definitely are very atmospheric. Especially this one. This one is only 3 songs, but each of the songs get progressively longer. I think the first one's like 9 minutes, then the next one's 12, and then the final one is over 20 minutes. Now, it builds a lot of atmosphere, but it doesn't generate a lot of memorable songs, for me at least. It's a little long-winded, and I don't know, I kind of find myself drifting off when I was listening to this, which if that was the idea, to just kind of be, lulled and kind of, relaxed by this, they did a good job. I kind of wanted something a little more, heavy. I mean, not that it isn't super heavy in spots, but it really spends a lot of time building atmospheric parts and layering the sound. There's kind of shoegazy moments which kind of lose me. All in all, I wouldn't say it's a bad band, it's just really not my thing. This one was a little bit different. There were some more electronic flourishes in there, like at least in terms of synths. Like kind of dungeon synths. It was kind of an odd listen to, and again, very long songs. Again, this one actually had 5 tracks, so it was broken up a little bit more evenly. But still, pretty solid sound. I like this one a little bit better. But I guess these guys, they just had these albums reissued on Profound Lore, or they just came out on Profound Lore. But I heard that they're already done, like this is it. So I guess if you're looking for something that might be a rarity later, find these and check them out. And if you're into atmospheric black metal, check them out. Gomorrah The Haruspex. This is a interesting Canadian, I guess you could say, death metal, maybe a touch of deathcore and groove metal. It kind of reminds me of like Black Crown Initiate, but like there's touches in there that remind me of Beneath the Massacre. Very, very heavy, just pummeling sound, like a very deep, low guitar tone. It probably sounds like it's a 7-string. It might be. This is actually kind of a bootleg, or at least a rip, like a vinyl. It's a CD rip. Picked it up on Amazon. Did not say that it was one of those. So yeah, it's not like an official release or anything like that. But I still got the music. I guess that's what was important. All in all, it's a pretty solid listen. It kind of reminds me of like some deathcore stuff, but there's some really good guitar work in there, and there's definitely some stuff in here that is 100% not deathcore, which I would have been kind of irritated if it was just deathcore, because they have a new album coming out on Willowtip, and I've heard at least 1 track from that, and that sounds really good, and I believe Hans Grossman is involved with this new album somehow, either in production or he might be stepping in on drums. Either way, my interest is piqued on that one. But yeah, this is a pretty solid listen, and if you're like more technical death metal, but you wanted to have like a kind of a fierce, sludgier side too, check it out. And finally, we have Immortal Bird, Thrive on Neglect. This is an amazing band that is a kind of a blend of sludge metal, maybe some black metal, death metal, maybe a bit of crust punk in there too. Heavy as hell, excellent production on this. This came out on 20 bucks, Ben. Really awesome songwriting. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in there that reminds me of early Mastodon, but then they go full bore into like some death metal moments that remind me of like death, flat out. Really solid vocals on here too. The front woman has this really good piercing kind of mid-level growl, and she does a great job. Songwriting is top-notch. I really like this. There's a lot of longer songs on here that I really got into because they really were good at building tension over that time, and they had some really catchy melodies throughout here. I was really surprised because I was expecting, a beat down, because 20 Buck Spin's been delivering those all year long. But yeah, this is an awesome album. Might be year-end material, I don't know. I keep jamming it, and I keep getting into it. But yeah, check this band out. It's fucking awesome. Alright, that wraps up another collection update. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, sub. We do stuff like this all the time. Catch you later.